Can we go back and talk a little bit about your impressions of Paul Erdös?
Well, he was perhaps the most eccentric person I have known. He was a very good person, very generous with his time. He was very generous with me. Uh, he didn't quite live in the real world. I remember a time he and Kakutani were arrested. This was just after Pearl Harbor, when suddenly the United States found itself at war with Japan. Kakutani was a very distinguished Japanese mathematician then visiting the United States. His daughter is a book reviewer for the New York Times. And he and Erdos went for a walk. They didn't realize that they were in a restricted territory by the Coast Guard and were duly arrested. And so Erdos was sternly asked, "What were you doing in this restricted area?" And Erdos said, "We were trying to prove a theorem." Eventually they were recognized as eccentrics and released. Kakutani was then returned to Japan in exchange for the American ambassador, I think. And passage in the Pacific was very dangerous. There were mines and submarines. And during this passage, Kakutani thought of a wonderful theorem. So he wrote it out on a piece of paper, put it in a bottle, and threw it into the sea. That shows the values of mathematicians.
Great.
The bottle was never found, but Kakutani safely made it.
Did you have continued contact with Paul Erdös later on?
Not very much mathematically, only socially, because his interests in mathematics diverged from mine. I think he even had somewhere a remark recorded about how I went off in strange direction of something called partial differential equations.
And what was his taste in mathematics? How would you characterize that?
Combinatorics, I would say, in a very general sense, and number theory. He was a wonderful mathematician.
How did it come about that he had so tremendously many collaborations?
Well, he had no permanent abode. He traveled constantly, and he loved to discuss mathematics. And the collaboration grew out of these discussions. And he was very generous with his time and his efforts. I think he had a total of 1,500 published papers, of which 500 are joint works. It's an unmatched record.
I mean, it's a style that probably will never be repeated, but quite exceptional and in its own way very high impact.
Not everyone approved Erdős' style of working. Von Neumann in particular was critical, and that's why Erdős was not made a permanent member at the Institute for Advanced Study. Von Neumann thought Erdős was too easily distracted in problems that were not as important as others he might work on.
In retrospect, with the perspective of time, would you say that Erdös was too easily distracted or not?
I think it's such a wonderful body of work. I wouldn't criticize anything.
And somehow time, things like random graphs and their importance in theoretical computer science have proved once again that work done for no purpose has sometimes great ramifications.
Absolutely. The random graph was work Erdős did with Rényi, who was an outstanding mathematician, who had a very broad view of mathematics.